It's 9 o'clock. Time to get out of bed. Rabbit yawns noisily. Wake up, sleepyhead. 10 o'clock. It's breakfast time. Is it going to be breakfast time soon?
You guys?
Hi. Hi. Are you making music? Did you have watermelon yesterday with Grandma? Was it good? Take one. Pass it to Mom. Thank you. All right. Pour it in. Oh! Should have seen that coming. Gotta get all the lumps and bumps out. Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is currently a Saturday morning and Viv and I are hanging out today. Typically Jared would be here on Saturday mornings and things like that, but a friend of ours that is also Jared's best friend also just happened to move this weekend. So Jared is over there right now helping them paint and get unpacked and all of their stuff just situated before he comes back and does all of that at our house again today. So it's been a little bit wild. I've honestly done a lot of the mornings with Vivian alone in the last couple of weeks just because Jared has been staying up so late, like working on the house until like after midnight, and so I usually just go to bed and then can get up with Viv in the morning, and it's just worked better that way. But she's currently teething, so it has been an interesting few mornings for us. She's very much like in the toddler world now, so lots of big feelings and emotions, and I honestly feel like teething, if you can do the bulk of that when they're a baby, is probably better than when they're a toddler. But here we are. She's still only got 2 teeth. The next one, the third one, is coming down right now, and I think a lot more are gonna follow after that. She really wanted to play outside this morning, so she's currently playing with her water table. And basically what's on the docket for me today is I need to do some cleaning, I need to do some organizing of things. I have a lot of laundry to fold. I think when Viv goes down for her first nap in the morning, I'm going to do a second trimester update for you guys, just filling you in on how all of that went, kind of the big highlights from that stage of pregnancy and where things are at now. And I'm also going to show you guys some of the updates that we've made on the house because we have done a lot since the last time I vlogged. This is like my first official vlog, just being in the house since we've lived here. So I'm really excited to show you guys kind of all of that and what we are working on for this weekend. Today's after breakfast play is with this, I guess, like knockoff of the IKEA Flyset sensory table. My sister-in-law had this custom made because this has been out of stock for so long that people are actually like custom making them to fit the IKEA bins themselves, and then you can just put them right in and have the same table. So I get a moment, she gets a moment, and it's good for everybody. I think I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an update on like the house stuff now before I start cleaning. So we'll start with the living room. This is what it's currently looking like in here. Honestly, so different from what it looked like when we first moved in. We've done a lot. So first thing, we got this couch. This is the Struck Tube soft couch. It is a dupe of the Restoration Hardware Cloud couch, which is honestly so expensive. The nice thing is we were able to get it secondhand from people in our church that just bought it like a couple of months ago but are moving and don't have space. So we just got this. I'm obsessed with it. I feel like the only thing to note is that because it is like a feather-filled down couch, not only will you have feathers here and there every once in a while, but you also really need to fluff it. So if you sit in it for like a second, it will leave an imprint. So you do need to like be fluffing it pretty often. My mom just bought this for me from Zara Home, so that's there. Viv was playing with it. But I honestly do think it looks really good. The best thing about it is the fact that it is so comfy. The seats are really deep, which is what we wanted. So I actually would really recommend this couch, especially because like this is the secondhand version and it looks still incredible. You just have to maintain the fluffing. So 10 out of 10, love that couch. This is not the layout that things will stay in. This will stay here, but we're still trying to figure out where to put things because this will obviously not be here. This is the couch we had in the living room of the last house, but it only seats 3 and we wanted like a big family couch in here. So currently trying to sell this on Facebook Marketplace, and then we'll have like a console or something under here. So the end kind of goal for these 2 chairs, I'm not quite sure on yet. We might keep one there, I might keep one there. I feel like one of them will probably go to the playroom just because it's nice to have a spot to like watch her comfortably, but also nurse when we have baby number 2. And this is the Samsung frame. It is fabulous, you guys. It is like so flush to the wall. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And I'll show you guys how it works with the actual remote is hidden from the toddler frame element. So there's quite a bit of glare on it right now just because I have all of the curtains open in here right now, but this is what it looks like. There's like a little mat around the outside of the photo and you can change the color of that. You can change the style of how you want that to look. You can obviously change the photo itself. And this is what it looks like when it's on the like quote unquote off setting. So you can actually hold down to turn it off, which we usually do when we go to bed at night. But for the most part, we have it just like this during the day. And we're going to get the actual frame to go around it. So that's one thing, is that they don't sell those together. You have to buy that separately. We're gonna get like the wooden frame to go on it. I think it's called a bezel, to make it just look more like a frame in our room. So we're really loving that. Obviously, Jared changed out every single curtain rod in here after he was done painting, and we changed out all the curtains. So these are IKEA. These are the new IKEA linen curtains, and we're really loving the way that those are looking. I had lots of help picking out the light fixture. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would know that I was posting so much trying to figure out like what to do in here. I wanted something that looked traditional but also modern, to just kind of blend the line between both of those things, because I feel like we don't like style-wise sway too far in either direction. So I feel like this is the perfect fit. I actually really love it. And then last but not least, the fireplace. So this is obviously the most drastic change in the room right now. We still need to replace this kind of concrete slab here with a wooden beam, which I think we're gonna do at some point in August, but we decided to go with staining this instead of painting, because if you paint the brick, oftentimes because it's so porous, it just really sinks in and then it blends the entire fireplace in with the walls, and it's hard to see that it's still brick. So we really wanted to kind of maintain that look of it being brick, just because Jared and I both really like that. So we ended up going with stain and are really happy with how it turned out. So this is what it's looking like from this angle. Such a drastic change from when we first moved in. I have a Ruggable rug coming in the mail for this, which I'm really excited about. It's just very like a muted beige kind of tone to tie in with the curtains over there. This one is a lovely rug, like in theory, but with toddlers, it gets really messy. The maintenance on it is crazy. It's so much vacuuming, so we're gonna swap that out and obviously get a console table once I sell that couch, but I'm so happy with how this room is looking so far. You guys, I'm literally so out of breath walking around and trying to explain all this stuff to you, and it is so hot outside, but I want to come out and show you guys one of my most like favorite things that I'm excited about with the garden right now. So I have always been obsessed and just like absolutely loved the pumpkin patch. I don't know what it is, but when I was a kid, it was always like one of the most magical days of the year for me, going to the pumpkin patch, like just the fall vibes around that, like picking out your pumpkin, going home and carving it with your family, like getting apple cider or just like a warm drink and bringing home pumpkin pie. It's just like the quintessential fall experience, at least in Canada, when the temperatures start to drop and you just get like cozy again. So I have literally always said to Jared that one day I want to like own a pumpkin patch and like grow my own pumpkins that people can come pick. So I decided to grow one at our new house, and I'm going to show you guys like what it's looking like, what we've done so far, how I got them to grow. So up here is where the previous owners had their vegetable garden. And while we aren't necessarily going to keep this like structure like this, because I would like to do something that's a little bit nicer looking, this is the perfect spot for the pumpkin patch for now. So there's a lot of weeds that are growing in here, and I'm constantly having to come in and weed it and like pull all of that out. But here are my pumpkins. So this row down here is like the orange, very classic jack-o'-lantern type pumpkin, and they are growing really, really quickly. I think I have about 12 of those ones. And then on this side, I have my white pumpkins. So I think that there are 8 in total of those. And you can see there are like some weeds growing around, but the ones that are the actual pumpkin leaves are these bigger ones here that have usually those 3 big leaves and then a couple of small ones around them. So they're very happy and doing well in here. Pumpkins need really warm temperatures, but then also a lot of water. It has been a really dry summer here, but because the last couple of days it's rained a lot, you can see the soil is like super wet right now. So I haven't been having to come out and water as often, but when I first planted them, I was out here usually every day watering them for at least 20 minutes to make sure that they would actually like germinate in time. And now that they have, I'm probably going to drop a little bit in terms of the watering just to give them a little bit of space to breathe. But I'm so excited to see them grow, and I can't wait to keep you guys just like updated on how it goes, because again, this is like a very niche but magical dream of mine. So I'm happy to see it coming to life. One of my Prime Day purchases this year was a wet dry vacuum, and I kept saying to Jared, like even in our last house, that I wanted one of these, but because we had such little like hardwood, I mean we had it on the main level, but the entire like upper floor of that house was carpeted. It just didn't make sense to have it. But in this house we only have like hardwood or tile. We have rugs, but we can manage that with just like a small vacuum cleaner. So I ended up getting this when it was on sale for Prime Day. I think it was like $150 off. It is the Tyneco vacuum. I think it might be like the S3 or something like that, but I've been using it literally every single day because again, like we don't have any floors that I need a traditional vacuum for. This one will vacuum and mop all of my floors and like proactively start drying them, like by sucking the water up while I'm already mopping. So our floors have never felt more clean in a house before. It was disgusting the first couple times I used it because we had the floors like steam cleaned when we moved in, we vacuumed, I mopped, and then the first time I used this, they were still like black. The water that was coming out of it was so gross, but that's how I know it's working. So I've been using this all the time, especially after Viv eats, and I'm about to go and use it in the spare room because Jared just finished painting that last night, and there's just like paint and dust left in there. So I'm gonna clean up the floors in there and show you guys how this works. This is not sponsored. I'm just like so excited about this thing, and I need to show you guys how amazing it is to not have to do 2 chores. I feel like if you are cleaning as much as I am, just cutting down on one of the things that you have to do makes a huge deal. So I will show you guys. Okay, you guys have to see how nasty this is. Like I said, I've been doing this maybe not every day, most days, at least in certain areas, like around the high chair, under the dinner table, by the front entry. Usually like the whole house I'll do like every 3 or 4 days, but this is what the water looked like today after like 3 days since I did it last. Literally vile. Like how gross is that? Like we do have people coming in and out often right now with shoes on that are helping with house stuff and walking around. But the fact that like if I wasn't mopping and vacuuming with this every day, my child would be like crawling around and then putting her hands in her mouth, and this is like what would be picked up, makes me feel ill. So 10 out of 10, recommend this vacuum. I'm going to be washing this out and now doing this another 20 times. All right, so Jared just got back and Viv just woke up, which is perfect because he's finishing up lunch with her and I have a second to sit down, fold some laundry, and kind of just give you guys a little bit of a recap on second trimester, how all of that went for me, how I'm currently feeling now. I'm currently sitting in our very empty bedroom, which is one of the things that I really want to get done in time for baby boy to arrive, but I'm not quite sure what we're doing yet. That's the issue. I feel like even before we moved, I kept saying like we really wanted to do like a bedroom renovation and just make that space feel like us and just feel, I don't know, just like homey and cozy. But we can't decide on what we want to do because I'm gonna have this baby in 9 weeks and that is not a lot of time to like get the basement started and get this room finished. So we're not quite sure. It may stay like in flux for a little bit longer, and I'm obviously gonna do more nesting in here to make it cozy for when baby boy comes, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll be in its final state by then. But anyway, I'm gonna fill you guys in on how second trimester went. So basically my second trimester this time was very smooth, but I feel like it was also quite smooth with Vivian. I felt a lot better in second trimester than I did in first. I wasn't really experiencing any nausea anymore. I found that a lot of my cravings or aversions went away. I was sleeping really well. I was feeling good overall. I think that I started to get the headaches again around like week 13 or 14. I can't quite remember. But in this pregnancy, they didn't last as long as they did when I was pregnant with Vivian. I only had them for like 3 or 4 weeks, whereas I had that for like 6, 7, or even 8 weeks when I was pregnant with her. So that was really nice, obviously, because I didn't have to deal with that. And it would have been a lot harder to deal with because this time for my entire pregnancy, I have been working in an office. Well, I guess not my entire pregnancy, but ever since I went back to work in, what month was that? May, I have been pregnant. So that was one of the things that honestly I think I did take for granted when I was pregnant with Viv last time, is like I was at home because of the pandemic, so if I needed to take a nap during the day, I could do that. I've definitely felt like it's been more challenging to navigate like symptoms of pregnancy working in an office full time. I can't even imagine for the people that are also on their feet all day doing that. So I know that that's like a common experience because most people are working to some degree while they're pregnant, but yeah, it's definitely much harder to do when you're sitting at a desk. This time I started feeling movement around like 16 or 17 weeks. And because I knew what that felt like from my last pregnancy, it was really easy to pinpoint like, oh, this baby's moving already. And he has continued on that trajectory because this baby is, I don't know if it's like so much more active, but I can feel it so much more. And I think it's because the position of my placenta is different this time. I can't remember with like anterior and posterior placenta, like which one is attaching to the front and which one is attaching to the back, but whichever one is like where your placenta attaches to the front of the uterus is, I think, like what has happened this time, whereas last time it was probably further to the back. All that to say, this baby is not in my ribs like my last one was. This one is very much like front and center. I can see every movement through my belly. I can feel every movement. My husband can feel them a lot more than he could last time. It was crazy because last time I felt like I was getting these massive, massive kicks and Jared would have his hand on my belly and I'd be like, do you feel that? And even at like 35 weeks, he still couldn't feel it as much as it was actually being felt by me. So this time it's interesting because he can feel a lot more of it, and that has been a really cool just kind of perk of pregnancy this time. Another thing that happened in second trimester was obviously finding out that it was a boy, having the 20-week scan, and finding out after a little bit of a hiccup with the photos the first time that like after we went back and did it again that everything was good, so that was great. I guess the only other thing that was like a hiccup this time was my gestational diabetes test. So last time I tested high for the 1 hour test and ended up needing to go back for the 3 hour, and that test is grueling. But I had the 1 hour test, and what I didn't know is that a lot of people will actually like modify their diet before the 1 hour test so that their blood sugar doesn't spike. Like, I was reading articles afterwards that the best things to eat beforehand are like a salad if you are going in for the 1 hour test, or things that are high in protein but low in carbs and sugar. I was not given this information. Every single time I've like gone into this test, for whatever reason, I've been instructed to just like eat as I regularly do. For breakfast that morning, I literally had eggs and toast. And then for lunch, I ended up eating this like white rice, like ground beef Asian stir fry thing. And so I go in for the test like an hour after that, and then get a call from my midwife the next day that my levels are elevated. So I said to her, I was like, I think that there is something to be said here about like the fact that I'm just eating whatever and not changing my diet, because like how could my levels not be elevated if I've just had white rice like an hour before I go to get this test? So I was kind of like not pushing to not have to do the 3 hour test, but was saying like I don't feel like it's necessary. However, because one of the like bigger elements of my birth plan this time around is avoiding induction, she was basically saying that like if we really want to focus on avoiding induction this time, like it would be probably better for you to know that you don't have gestational diabetes, because that would really suck if you did and then you get down the line and we end up having to do that and you've just had this expectation that you wouldn't. So basically we just talked back and forth, and I was like, okay, I'll go and I'll do the 3 hour test. So I went and I did the 3 hour test, and this time I booked it like first thing in the morning. So I ended up doing like the 12-hour fast from like 7 p.m. the night before, and then my test was at like I think 7:30 or 8 the next morning. So I just didn't eat leading up to it, and then went into the 3 hour test. Obviously it sucked to have to do it again, but everything came back fine. So both times for the 3 hour test for me, like everything has been totally fine. I would just know that if you are going to eat a big bowl of white rice teriyaki like beef for lunch, that you're probably gonna get a little bit of an elevated result. So I know for next time that I will not be doing that. And then I guess like I did have a little bit of random pelvic pain this time. I had prolapse with Vivian after giving birth, and that was like the hardest part of my postpartum recovery, outside of like navigating breastfeeding and stuff like that, was just like this like aching kind of like dull heaviness that I had when I would walk around or like spend too much time standing up. And the weird thing is like when I was like 26 or 27 weeks pregnant this time, I was experiencing that like prolapse type pain where I just felt like I was postpartum again. And it was very bizarre. I did like message my pelvic PT about it, but then very shortly after, before I could even get in for my appointment, the pain just went away. So I don't know if that was just maybe the position of where the baby was, or something shifted at some point down there, but I'm not experiencing that anymore, which is really good. I am, however, just aware, because I already have had that feeling, that I need to watch out for that in like 3rd trimester now going forward, but also postpartum again. So hopefully I don't do too much damage down there this time around. In terms of how I'm feeling now, I'm feeling really good. I'm currently 31 weeks, close to being 32 weeks, and I feel like still so good at this stage in pregnancy. Like again, I'm not really experiencing any discomfort yet. I wouldn't say that I've experienced any swelling anywhere, like in my legs, in my feet, in my hands. My face was so swollen at this point in my last pregnancy already. And I think because like I'm pregnant in the summer this time, I thought for sure I would be really swollen at this point, but for whatever reason, baby boy and I are just having really smooth sailing this time, and I'm super, super grateful for that, because it's a lot to be pregnant and working and having a toddler and all of that stuff. So I've been grateful to have just such a smooth 2nd trimester and beginning of 3rd trimester as well. I am going to be finishing work very, very soon. I believe it's only 5 weeks that are left, and this is like week 5 that I'm about to go into. So the countdown is very much on. In terms of how I'm feeling like being off again, I'm honestly really excited for it. I loved being home with Vivian, and even going back, like I know that for some people that is a really nice thing, because they love to have the break. They love to be able to have their hot coffee during the day, and they really like that balance between being out and working and then coming home and seeing their kids and being with them on weekends and things like that. And there are certain days that I really love that, don't get me wrong, but I think like, especially the fact that I was pregnant going back to work this time, my brain is just so hardwired right now to like want to be with my babies and my kids and to take care of them during the day. And so I think that was one of the only things that made it a little bit trickier for me, was just like feeling that pull to be home and kind of balancing that mentally. But all in all, the experience has still been good. I really still do want to do like a kind of day in the life or morning routine of a working mom, because it is wild. I have so much respect for the moms that have been doing this and do this for years, where you get up super early and you get your kids ready and out the door, yourself ready and out the door, things figured out for dinner. Like, it is just such a crazy and hectic way to live, to be honest, that it is just such a stark contrast from like the slow mornings of being home and cleaning. And yeah, so I mean, there's no right way to do it. Everybody has to choose what's right for their family, obviously, but there were days that I really loved it and days that I just missed being home. So I am excited to be back home again in a couple weeks. I am going to wrap up this vlog here. It is honestly such a beautiful sunny summer day right now, and I can't wait to just get in the pool, in the float, and hang out with my family. So I'm gonna wrap this up and go and do that now. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed seeing a little bit of an update in terms of house renos and how things are looking like right now, but also just hearing a little bit more about second trimester and how I'm doing right now being in third trimester. If there is any like pregnancy related videos that you guys want to see, please drop them in the comments, whether they are new things I've never done before, but also things that you have seen me do with my last pregnancy that you want to see again. Let me know what all of that looks like, because like I said, I am coming up on 32 weeks pregnant, and by the time this goes up, I'm gonna be anywhere between 33 and 34 weeks. So I'm running out of time to get you the pregnancy content you want. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I will try to prioritize that. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I am praying for you. And until my next video, I hope that you guys have an incredible, incredible week.
Let me see your tooth.
Oh, you say bye-bye. Bye-bye.